President Trump issuing this warning moments ago, brand new on Truth Social. Remember when I gave Iran 10 days to make a deal or open up the Hormuz Strait? Time is running out, 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them. Glory be to God, President Donald J. Trump. Another stark warning to Iran that comes amid an urgent search and rescue mission that is underway this morning for a missing F-15E crew member. And officials say that the crew was forced to eject behind enemy lines in Iran early Friday. That was after enemy fire shot down a U.S. fighter jet. One pilot thankfully has been rescued, but that second crew member remains missing. We will update you as we get news.
All right, so I am live on a Saturday afternoon, remembering where all the buttons have been, where do they go, what I'm supposed to push. Check 1, 2, 3, everything is working. Glad you guys are here. Before we get into what's been going on, I guess there's been a little bit of news while I've been gone. We're going to cover some of that today. I'm going to be changing some formats up here in the next couple of days as we move into next week. Going to be doing more segmented stuff. I'm going to try and do as much as I can to stay on pace and not go as long as 3 and 4 hours at times, but sometimes if President Trump is talking, it may go long. But anyway, thank you. Glad to be back. Had a great time with the kids. As you can hear in my voice, picked up a little bit of a cold over the weekend, actually 3 or 4 days. It was fantastic. I wanted to share this with you before we began, so that's why it's important. I wanted to show this to you. I met somebody, we had dinner, and there was a gentleman there. His name was Vincent, and he watches the show, and I was able to take a picture with him. I love when I meet people out at locations, dinner or whatever. Never fear you're interrupting if you want to come by and say hi. And I wanted to say hi to Vincent. Had a great time with him. Both he and the manager at the restaurant were fanfare viewers, and it really pumps me up, especially when I've had so many days away from the microphone that it's like, what exactly is going on? And this week was crazy. So as I'm warming my voice up, is SV in here? You there? Oh, there's SV.
Hey, welcome back, Barry. I hope you had a great week off with the family. Looks like you did.
Fantastic. You see my tan, my beautiful tan.
I'm working on mine.
Out there at the beach. I already know you got stuff, but I probably have it lined up already because I think things are about to go crazy. So I'm going to do some new stuff. I got to recap some stuff that happened. But anything happened since you texted me this morning? Anything new on that front?
I have something from Dr. Oz that came out about 24 minutes ago.
All right.
The fraud just keeps on being exposed, and he says that he thinks the Cuban government are involved in a massive health fraud in South Florida, your state of all places.
Wow.
It happened to be in South Florida right now. There are 2 times twice as many durable medical equipment suppliers here in South Florida than there are McDonald's. And that's not because Bobby Kennedy is shutting down McDonald's. We have rampant fraud here, and we believe the Cuban government might be involved in this effort. We will have these crackdowns. And when you see these brave SWAT officers swooping down to take out these criminals, it sends a very clear message. Don't walk from this problem. If you're a criminal, you run away. I'll say that again. Don't walk, run. So there's more fraud even in your state of Florida.
There's fraud rampant everywhere.
Everywhere.
I would just, my big dream would be, sometime about April 12th, President Trump coming out and going, we need to get a handle on this. Don't worry about April 15th. Don't pay any taxes. Right? We'll get back to you, because it's absurd. I don't know why anybody should be forced to pay taxes right now when they're stealing us absolutely blind. And I saw something I posted. The bald-headed chick, Presley, she wants to she doesn't want evictions anymore. It's a violent thing to evict somebody. And then Liz Warren is out there talking about taking more of your money because you got to pay fair share. Like, you've never defined what fair share is, and you never will. You just want to take. It's unbelievable.
Well, you saw my reply on there. I truly think that the founding fathers, they did not, expect people to live very long, because back then, the life expectancy was like, 50, 60 years old. So they never thought about term limits. So that's something everybody wants, but it's never going to happen. I mean, you got people you got Pelosi falling down, breaking a knee, she's 90,000 years old. I mean, it's crazy. They need to do something because the fraud, between all the inside trading and et cetera. I mean, it's just, everybody's making money but us citizens. We're the ones paying all the bills, it seems.
And going back into that is, it's so easy to say you want to take somebody else's money when at the same time, I haven't seen her tax returns. We don't know what she's declaring. We understand she's worth about $10 or $15 million, which she didn't have before she became a senator. So it's all ridiculous. Yep. But as long as my voice holds up, we got a whole bunch to cover, and we're going to jump into it right after this. Quick message from Lear Capital, one of today's sponsors of today's afternoon show. Now, if you guys have been following along, especially with what President Trump has said, and he said something today which we are going to cover, I would venture to say now might be the time, if you haven't, to begin skating to where that puck is headed. Things are going to get really gnarly over the next probably couple of weeks, depending on what President Trump did. And I know some people were pulling back with alligator arms because of what the market showed. And that if you bought some gold and silver, I'm glad you didn't freak out, because they've been trying everything they can possibly do to suppress the market. With the days of excessive money printing and overvalued markets and global unrest are finally catching up to these elite people. So instead of pulling back, now might be the time to do your research. Now might be the time. If you've noticed what's happened over the last, I don't know, week or so, and you've been watching the arrhythmia of the market and the silver market and gold market, watch what happens if what President Trump is talking about goes forward. Keep your eyes open to trends. Get some information from my friends at Lear Capital. Experts are still predicting $6,000 gold and $150 to $200 silver. And everything you're seeing is being driven by geopolitical uncertainty, inflation concerns, and a perceived weakening U.S. dollar. Is it time for you to buy some gold or silver? That's a decision you'll have to make. In fact, I found it funny because I've seen now the media and some of the panicans are talking crap about the gold and silver market. But what they're not telling you is they're not talking about physical gold and silver, the kind you can actually take someplace and redeem or sell if you need to. They're talking about paper. Ask them when they're talking about, things would be bad to buy gold or silver. Ask them if they actually have any. Ask them if they can show you bars of gold or silver. And then ask them if they took it someplace like a bank and said, how much would the bank, they're all walking around with cameras. If it's a bad investment, walk to the bank and say, Mr. Banker, how much would you pay for this? It's all a crock. If you call Lear Capital, they'll help you by getting the most accurate information you'll need to make an informed decision. Call the best in the business and the company Robin and I personally trust and actually put our hard-earned cash into. Not paper, actual gold and silver. Call Lear Capital. It's a free call. There's no obligation to purchase anything, just education and information on protecting and growing your wealth with gold and silver. And I'm sure there are many of you that have been apprehensive and haven't purchased it for whatever reason. But they'll even walk you through shifting some of your money sitting in a retirement account over to, quote, physical gold and silver, not paper. That I wouldn't do that. I want to feel something. It's easy to do. I've been extremely satisfied with Lear's knowledge, service, and prices. So I urge you to call today and learn more. 800-601-5430, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com to learn more. All right, let's get it on.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So if you've been on X for any stretch of time, or even Facebook or something, there's a lot of BS that's going around, especially with the pilot or the plane that got shot down and the missing pilot. And people are putting up even stuff like the pilot has been recovered. It's just an indication of how much deception is going on out there on both sides. I don't get it, but it's on both sides. So in order for me to basically catch up to where I didn't miss it, I saw it happening, but what happened while I was on vacation, to bring you up to a current state right now, I want to go back a little bit. And I'm going to go back to when President Trump made his speech. And he made his speech in the announcement, and he basically said, brought everybody up to speed what was going on with the operation. I shall not call it a war. He won't call it a war. I'm not going to call it a war. And a lot of people said it was a bunch of mumbled, mashed up stuff, but he wasn't talking to those people. He wasn't talking to the media. He wasn't even talking probably to you or I. People who follow things very closely understand what's going on, or should, or already have their opinion. He was talking to people who don't follow everything on X. Do you realize less than 15% of Americans are on Facebook and or Twitter, X? That means 85% of people are only hearing things on that boob tube. Not YouTube, the boob tube. And so they're not getting all the information that he has to provide. I've told you that before, when you're like, why is he saying the same thing in these speeches? Because he's getting the message home. So let's go back, shall we, to something that right after the speech, President Trump posted this. And it says, our military, the greatest and most powerful by far anywhere in the world, hasn't even started destroying what's left in Iran. Bridges next, then electric power plants. New regime leadership knows what has to be done, and it has to be done fast. This was at, as you can see, April 2nd, 2026, 2 days ago at 10:41 p.m. What happened after he posted this? I swear I'm going to get the Jeopardy music because this is important. When you look at that, he tells you basically what the roadmap is. The roadmap says bridges next, then the power grid, and then new regime leadership. Well, what happened after he posted this? They blew up bridges. Not sure if you know that. Not sure if you caught that. Not sure if they even reported it. I saw it at the hotel. I'm looking at the bridge getting blown up. I'm like, Robert, he just said this. He said he's going to do it. He did it. Following that, he said it's going to be the power grid. And sure enough, half of Iran last night was in the dark. If you see what he's doing, he's not bluffing. He's giving them an opportunity, almost like giving you an appetizer. Like, taste this. It's good. I'm going to give you the rest. So I blew up a bridge. We put you in darkness. And you know what comes next. So after he did that, he, as you know now, he posted this. And it says, remember when I gave Iran 10 days to make a deal or open up the Hormuz Strait? Time is running out 48 hours before, quote, all that's a quote, all hell will rain down on them and glory be to God. You realize right now, it's the holiest time of the year for us Christians. Not Christmas. Easter is the holiest time, or hopefully you feel that way, of the year. And President Trump today dropped this missive and says, I'm going to unleash hell on Iran and glory to be God in the same sentence on Easter weekend. Ouch. I'm sure it caught a lot of Christians. I'm sure a lot of people shied away when they read that, but there's no mistaking what he's saying to Iran and what he's saying to America. I am about to deliver you from something, and it's going to be hell for these people. And so pray for them, because there are probably going to be a whole lot of people that are going to get hurt. But at the same time, I give glory to God for what I'm about to do, because I'm going to save so many more people. The media is going to focus on, oh my God, he's blowing these people up. Oh God. And they won't focus on the entirety, the largeness of the people he's intent on saving. And I think also he understands the weight that he's going to be carrying into this decision. Imagine right now if it was you and you had the capability, the resources, the opportunity, and the responsibility for 300 plus million people here and for people in other countries as well, even if their leadership are a bunch of dolts, not ADULTS, DOLTS. If you're not going to look out for your people, I have to. And because I have to let you know this has to be done. Good Friday yesterday, Holy Saturday today, Easter tomorrow. He'll wait until Monday, Tuesday before he does anything, because I doubt anything's going to happen on Easter Sunday. You got the Pope complaining, which I'll talk about that probably on Monday. But it's time. It's over. We have to bring this thing to as quick of a close as possible. Then I saw this as well. And this button. With a little more time, we can easily open up the Hormuz Strait, take the oil, and make a fortune. It would be a gusher for the world. Telling you, this was yesterday, telling you he's not just looking out for the United States, he's looking out for the world. But the world doesn't seem to want to protect themselves. The world is stuck on an old axis of how they used to do things, and that world doesn't exist anymore with Donald Trump in it. He also posted this, which, letting these people know in no uncertain terms, they have had their chances. and he's letting the other countries know as well. Read this. This was earlier this morning. The failing New York Times, who lack of credibility and their consistent fake news attacks on your favorite president, me, has caused its circulation to absolutely plummet. That's not the important part. They referred to our severely weakened and extremely unreliable partner, NATO, as the North American Treaty Organization. The correct name is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. A very interesting mistake. The hiring and educational standards have gone way down at the New York Times. Bring back all the news that's fit to print. Why was that so important to him? North American is what they called it, and what its reality is North Atlantic. What hemisphere is the Atlantic in? That would be the Western Hemisphere. It's not North America, it's the Western Hemisphere. And NATO is not living up to their end of the deal. NATO has been the little child to America for way too long. You know, when I had the fortune of being with my grandchildren this past week, and you look at their innocent faces and they're young, and your job as a grandfather and parent is to make sure every need that they have is taken care of. They look up to you, even though my grandson looks down at me, he's so big now, but they look up to you and what are we having for lunch? What are we having for dinner? Where are we going? What are we doing today? And there's no wallets in these young kids. They're just there and they expect you to provide for them, entertain them, pay it, and protect them. There was a lot of protection going on this week between Ashley and her husband, my son-in-law, Robin, and I. Of course, you keep your eye on everything when these kids are around. You make sure there's nothing there to harm them. Well, it's almost like the United States has taken that approach to NATO for so long. Hey, man, there's another country getting ready to come over here. Can you guys come over here and do something? We can't do it ourselves. Hey, the oil over there, you know, this guy's talking about doing stuff. Can you come over and help us? And now you're at a point where President Trump's like, you're 18. It's on you. What? Yeah, go get your own oil. I'm not responsible for you. You're 200 years old. Go get your damn own oil. And it freaked them out because America has long been the provider, the protector, and everything they've needed. And President Trump warned them, number one, you're not paying up. Number two, now we're done. You're not in our hemisphere. See, the Monroe or the Donroe doctrine just got made really important to these people. I want you to hear this. This is something that Glenn Beck said over the weekend. I'm not sure how many of you have seen it.
The president is going to speak on, I don't know what. He says the Iran war, but it could be, I mean, did you see what he posted yesterday on Truth? I mean, I felt really good, but at the same time, I'm like, wow, I've never seen a president say this. All of those countries, I'm quoting the president, all of those countries that can't get jet fuel because of the Strait of Hormuz, like the United Kingdom, which refused to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, I have a suggestion for you. Number one, buy from the U.S. We have plenty. Number two, build up some delayed courage. Go to the Strait and take it. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. The USA won't be there to help you anymore, just like you weren't there for us. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done. Now go get your own oil.
Isn't, let me bring that part back so you can see it yourself. Isn't that what you would say to your kids? You're 21 and they're sitting in your basement. Hey, go get a job. Go get a car, go take care of yourself, go get your own damn food. I am no longer here to keep feeding you and giving you money. You're a grown-ass adult. That's exactly what President Trump just said. And if you need something, I'd be willing to help you out. Buy it from me. You want me to go to the store? I'll get some groceries. You're going to pay me. I'm not saying you got to pay me now, but you're going to have to pay me. Number two, get some bulls. Build up some courage. Get out there. Find out what you need to do to become self-sufficient. I read this. You'll have to start learning how to fight for yourself. And I'm like, he's talking to freaking kids. He's talking to my grandson. He's talking to, and we're talking about countries. And I'm like, you have to start learning how to fight for yourself. We won't always be there. Grandpa, grandma, mom, and dad are not always going to be there. And when you break that down and look at it, you're like, wait a minute, you're talking about sovereign nations with leaders, some who have been around for thousands of years. The Roman Empire, which is now just Italy, the British Empire, which is basically just England. You watched everything you built. Your empires have crumbled. And now you're sitting in daddy's basement. Can you come over here? And Trump saying, no. Go get your own. Grow up. Grow a pair. Get the courage. Get in there and kick that bully's butt and go take the oil. And I thought this was so timely because I'm sitting with my grandkids and 5 of their friends came down from North Carolina. And I'm like, look at this group of kids, 6 kids between the ages of like 11 and 17. And they've got no care in the world, nothing to worry about. Nothing's going to happen to them. They're going to be completely provided. And I realized Spain, Italy, England, it's the same thing. And I realized what Trump was saying as soon as I mean, we're sitting by the pool and I turn around and they're splashing and one of them goes, when are we going for dinner? What are we doing next? I know the parallel might sound crazy to you, but it was like light bulbs going off in my head. I'm like, these countries have not grown up. Go get your own. We're done playing. Get out. I'll be here if you need me, but you haven't even shown me at this point that you need me because you're not doing anything. Now you got 48 hours. And as adults here, you know right now, go fill up your tank. Go fill up whatever you need to fill up, the trucks, the cars. Make sure you've got some gas at whatever price it is right now, because that's what prudent people do. Prudent people go get prepared. Get what you need. Go to the grocery store. It's the 1st of the month. Today's the 4th. Make sure rent's paid up because something might happen. The ATMs may go down. The internet may go down. Are you prepared? Or are you going to be a 16-year-old flopping around in a pool wondering what happens if something, I don't know, goes bad on Wednesday or Thursday? Don't be the 16-year-old in the pool. Don't be England. Don't be any of those countries. Be the adult. Take care of business. I got a lot more to talk about this. I'll be right back in 90 seconds because I got to get something and gargle real quick. So hang on. We got a lot more about this.
back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so let me talk to you. This segment is sponsored by Brightcore. You know, the war in Iran is having a devastating effect on the people living there locally. What most people don't realize, it's affecting everyone on a global scale as well, even if we aren't there in Iran physically. Because every time a missile or bomb gets launched and goes off, tiny microplastic particles are being spread into our atmosphere, leaching into our soil and water, and eventually ending up in our body, causing possibly irreparable harm. I don't know if you saw, but that was something that even R.F. Kennedy Jr. was just talking about yesterday. They cross the gut lining, leach into your blood, and disrupt everything. They've been shown to alter gut bacteria, suppress your immune response, increase your risk for heart attack and stroke and cognitive diseases, and even cancer. There's now a plastic spoon worth of microplastics in the average human noggin, your brain. But your gut can help you fight back. Kimchi One from Brightcore Nutrition is a potent ally in this toxic world. And one of the things that they have shown people is that kimchi actually binds and excretes nanoplastics. It's packed with over 900 probiotic strains unique to kimchi and proven to bind and excrete those bad microplastics, helping you detox from the inside out. Your body was never designed to handle plastic, but your gut was designed to protect you. You just must give it the right tools. And those right tools being one of them is you can work with kimchi. You don't have to eat it. It's just a capsule. Today, you can get an exclusive offer by clicking the link below in the description for 25% off your entire order. Or for an even better deal, call my friends at Brightcore for up to 50% off your order and free shipping. Giving them a call now at 888-418-6738. Thanks, Brightcore, for partnering on today's resumption show. That's what I'm going to call it. All right, what I want to continue with and really get into is, you know, where I think we're headed right now. So I want to do a little bit of a deeper dive into the current state of this dust up operation, whatever you want to call it, and what it tells us about the what I'm going to coin the unbreakable mindset of President Donald J. Trump. And it's such a difference that we know the media can't handle it. We know the left can't handle it. And now we're realizing that there are many people on the right who can't handle this. They just don't get it. Everybody's having a meltdown. The left is screaming forever war. And the American people, especially you great people out there who built this country, are seeing exactly why you elected this man twice. Or should I say 3 times? Now, let's paint the picture. It's April 2026, and we've been in this operation called Epic Fury for about 5 weeks. It started back on, way back on February 28th. That's it. February 28th. It started with the United States and Israel delivering a boom of precision strikes on Iran's missile sites, air defenses, naval bases, and yes, even taking out the Supreme Ayatollah in the opening round. No boots on the ground, no nation-building nonsense like the neocons tried in the old days. This has been air power, drones, and targeted hits. Iran's Navy? They ain't got one. The Air Force? Toast. Just a memory. $500 billion in military hardware built up over decades turned into smoke. Gone. Their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, Hamas, all cut off from the cash and the missiles. The deep state, pretty much the same. Don't forget that part. All that cash that they had, all the money laundering, it's ending. Which is why probably the media is freaking out. The Strait of Hormuz, that critical choke point for 20% of the world's oil, which we don't need, has been a flashpoint. Iran tried to close it. They threatened the shipping. They rained down drones and missiles on our neighbors and our friends. But President Trump has drawn a line. And right there in black and white from the White House, you saw it. You got 48 hours. 48 hours. And all hell is going to rain down on you. What would you do if somebody told you that? 48 hours, and glory be to God. I haven't heard a president say that before as they were getting ready to bomb the hell out of you. And the problem is, this isn't some timid bureaucrat hedging their bets. This isn't some timid former president that bows to people. This is a leader with steel in his spine, a clear deadline, and the moral clarity that comes from knowing you're on the right side of history, if you know history. See, that's the other part of this. In order to understand what Trump is doing, you have to understand history. And right now you're thinking, what do you mean? Has there ever been something where a president finally had to say enough's enough? Remember Hiroshima? Remember Nagasaki? And some people right now are going, oh, the humanity. Then, and some people now still freak out about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But what was the result? See, there's people walking around now who don't even know what the hell happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They can't even imagine. They don't understand. It's horrific. We all saw the pictures as kids. It's completely horrific. But it happened. Somewhere, somebody had to make a decision that other people are like, oh, hell no, you can't possibly do that. I gotta. I sit in this chair. I wear that on my shoulders. I'm the one who has to make that decision. And ever since then, maybe other than Reagan, there haven't been any real leaders who are willing to ask God for the glory. Because this isn't about having some endless war. It's about punishing bad people who threaten us, who threaten our interests, our global energy, and the lives of not just us, but our allies. The left calls it reckless. Hopefully, if you're like me, I call it way overdue. I'm tired of you poking me. I'm tired of you doing stupid stuff. President Obama gave them a nuclear deal and pallets full of cash. Biden let them fund terror unchecked and then said, come on over. You can come on over here. And this president, just the opposite of everything they possibly know that they could ever possibly understand, because they know our history as well as we should, maybe even better. Americans aren't going to do anything. And then they run into this guy called Donald Trump, who says, yeah, I've had it. Now, to understand this, you have to truly understand Donald Trump's mindset. That's where everything falls apart. Because even people who voted and follow Trump don't understand his mindset. His complete, I don't give a shit what you think mindset. Excuse my language. That post should have told you everything. Donald Trump isn't wondering how the polls are going to turn out. Donald Trump isn't talking to focus groups. He's not checking Gallup or Rasmussen. He told you got 10 days. That's it. They didn't do the deal. Now he said, I'll give you another 48 hours. And if they don't open the strait and do what they got to do, hell is coming. American hell delivered by the greatest military the world has ever known. Does that scare you? Maybe. Might scare a lot of people. Scares the media, scares the left. But Trump knows this is what he has to do because he knows what's at stake. No more Iranian nukes on the horizon. No more missiles raining on Israel or our bases. No more chaos in the Gulf that jacks up your gas prices at the pump. Hopefully no more sleeper cells. This is America First in action, and it's the kind of America First these people didn't expect because they had nothing to compare it to. Nobody in this country could even imagine that this president would completely break the mold. So to them, it's like crazy. He's nuts. The hysteria abounds because they don't understand. He doesn't give a crap what you think. See, that scares the elite because, you know, they would have the think tanks and different things that they would tell people. And Trump has told you from day one, no forever wars. He's also shown you he's not the typical guy. This is a punitive expedition. That's where the difference comes. This isn't regime rebuilding or nation rebuilding. This is a spanking. This is bend over. We've had enough. Daddy's got the belt and he's whooping your butt. However, it's got clear objectives, just like the Gulf War clocked in at 42 days. We're at 33 days, give or take a day. And the objectives are largely met. And who better to break that down than brilliantly Victor Davis Hanson? He was on Glenn Beck the other day analyzing Trump's recent national address on Iran. And he said, quote, he's never heard a president speak like this, laying it out plainly for the American people who aren't glued to cable news 24/7. How refreshing. See, Trump is comparing this to past expeditions, short, decisive strikes, precision, like the Gulf War, or even the Serbia action at 72 days versus the quagmires in Afghanistan for 20 plus years. We're not doing that. Victor said, he says Trump believes this will wrap up in 2 or 3 more weeks of hard strikes. Why? Because Iran's military is decimated. There's no Navy, there's no Air Force. They're vanishing missile stocks. They still have the ability to strike a plane. It's not going to be easy, but their regime is humiliated, whatever or whoever that regime still remains to be. Who knows? Their ability to fund terror proxies is crippled. That's probably why we're not seeing too much stuff happening here. Not that it's not capable, but after this period of time, if they were like they were, we'd probably be seeing different kind of things happening in the United States, but we don't see that. And the Iranian people, 93 million of them, are sick of the mullahs, are starting to stir with internal pressure. There's no boots on the ground, no gender studies, no nation building like Obama tried. Just set the conditions and let the Iranians sort their own future. Victor Davis Hanson called it a masterclass. Trump decides when we leave, defines success, and sticks to it. No better friend, no worse enemy. That's the mindset. You ever have one of those friends? You ever have one of those friends that would be right there with you, and at the same time, you knew not to piss this person off because as good a friend as they could be, you didn't want them as an enemy. That's the mindset Trump has right now. Clear-eyed realism from a man who understands history. And that's what I want to underscore. You know, SV is texting me, not sure what he's got to show me. Excuse me. But in order to understand what's going on with President Trump right now, you've got to understand history. That's why that's the only reason I brought up Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Nobody wants to go that far. I don't think anybody wants. They would. That's just it. The Iranians would have no problem going full Nagasaki here. If they had the opportunity, boom, New York would be gone. Which some of you probably think, well, that's not a bad idea. What do we got here? Okay, I'm gonna SV, send me that to an X, and I'll pull that up because what he just sent me is really relatable to everything we're talking about right now. But in order to do that, you have to understand history, and then you also have to have the steel and cojones to execute. That's another thing the media and everybody else that they haven't seen before. Come on, admit it. Think about it yourself. All right, we had Biden. Thank you. We've had Biden. We've had Obama. people were not going to act. It goes against the entire thought process of the left. But here's the part the fake news won't tell you, and why it's polling and public opinion means squat to this president right now. This is really important. Ignore every single poll. Ignore every single, pundit or podcast bro. You're going to lose the midterms. So I'm going to tell you something really clear right now. You ready? He doesn't give a crap. Not a monkey's poopy. Doesn't give shit about the midterms. It doesn't matter. And you have to, I know, so you guys are thinking, wait a minute, what do you mean it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter. The polls don't matter. I'm going to ask you one question right now. And even those of you who are football fans are going to go, Super Bowl, who won it? And right now there's a bunch of you trying to think, I don't even know who played. The biggest event in sports anywhere is the Super Bowl. How many people within like 5 seconds could remember who won it, never mind who played? Social media has ensured that we have a very, very short-term memory problem in this country. And the polls are a snapshot of what's that people think today. Who cares? Why would you, as a politician, care about what's happening today and measuring that as to what's going to happen in the future? It matters nothing. Nobody's going to remember, especially somebody who doesn't give a crap about polling. Trump knew that Operation Epic Fury could tank his approval ratings. Did he care? Nope. Why? It won't matter. He knew it might split the base. Oh my God, a war. He knew. Did it matter? Nope. Doesn't care. He knew the media and the Democrats would scream, oh, Israel first, and this is going to sabotage him politically. He doesn't care. He knew oil and gas prices might spike temporarily. He even told you. He didn't care. And I think, some of you guys think, oh, wait, why wouldn't he care? Well, for the same reason I told you that the Democrat Party can only exist because they expect people to have short-term memories. I just did a whole video about it and how everything that happened under Biden, they're acting like it never happened. And yet still, Kamala is still competitive somehow. It doesn't matter. What matters is, what's your life like in October and November? If you are sitting on gas prices and there's gas prices around $1.99, you going to give a shit what happened in April in Iran? Probably not. If there's abundant jobs, are you going to care what happens no, we'll be good. If grocery prices in October are good, I'm fine. You don't care what happened in March, April, or even June. There's a means to an end. As being in real estate and knowing his background in real estate, when you buy a plot of land and you say, I'm going to build a skyscraper, you don't judge what that skyscraper is going to be based on the dirt. You've got plans, and you're like, okay, phase one, we got to buy it. Number two, we got to grade it. 3, we got to pour foundation, and then we're going to go up. During that entire project, the guy, he poured the wrong concrete. You got to dig it up. Does that matter to the people who are going to buy the penthouse unit for $10 million? No, they just want to know when it's done, can I move in? They don't want to hear about your problems with the concrete and the shifting and is it safe? Yeah. Can I buy that unit? Yeah. That's all they care about. They care about October. Nobody cares about the dirt. None of you ever bought a house and went back and said, can I see before it got built? Can I see the dirt? I want to know, everything about this house and how he bought. No, when you go, oh, well, this is beautiful, honey. Oh, I love the kitchen. It's already done. I know that for a fact because I've been buying and selling houses, and I just sold one 2 weeks ago or last week. The people walked in, they didn't care what we had to do. This has got to begin sinking into people. When we bought the house, we walked in and went, okay, what do we got to do? We're going to do this. 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 How long is it going to take? What's it going to cost? And none of those questions were asked by the people who bought it. When they came in with the kids and wanted to take pictures, oh, is this going to be my room? Nobody cared how we got there. They only cared that it looked beautiful and they were going to spend a whole lot of money on it. Trump knows this. You don't. The panicans, the podcast bros, they don't know this. Maybe that's why I'm such a staunch, supporter of President Trump. Because I know development. I know where things start, where you plan on ending them up, and all the naysayers along the way. When we bought our house, let me just tell you this real quick. Hold on. When we bought this house, the neighbors, and Beth, if she's in the chat, can tell you this is God's honest truth. When we bought the house, the people next door came over to us and said, hey, we'd like to buy it. What would you sell it for? And I told them a price. And they're like, that's kind of high. What are you going to list it for? And I told them what we're going to list it for. God's honest truth. They said to me, you'll never get that price in this neighborhood. I'm like, well, then what are you talking to me for? I already know where I'm going. I know you're a naysayer. I know you're right now saying, he'll never get that. You're crazy. You're going to lose your pants. Ask Beth. She was standing right there. She goes, what do you think? I'm like, I don't care what they think. I know what I'm doing. I've done it over and over and over. The only person I cared was, Robin, what do you think? She laughed. They don't know you. I'm like, no, they don't know me. These people don't know Trump. They're walking in, hey, this ain't going to work. That ain't going to work. No, you're never going to be able to do that. I'm like, okay, watch me. So I don't care what you think right now. I didn't care what the neighbor thought when we bought the house. See, right now, that same neighbor is like, damn, he got that? Honey, you know what that means our house is worth? Oh, they're real happy now. Now you want to have dinner. Now you want to invite me over because you didn't have to go through the risk. You didn't have to take the risk. Now they like it. Oh, you made this look nice. And you sold it in how fast? Oh, wow. You see, President Trump, just like everybody else, was probably advised against doing this, but he did it anyway. Why? Because he had courage. He had experience. He had, both. The same courage that had him stand up in Butler after taking a bullet and going, fight, fight, fight. From that day, I was following and supporting President Trump before that, but when he stood up and went, fight, fight, fight after getting shot, whole new ball game. He didn't know if there were other snipers. He didn't know, what was going on. Was there a drone attack? Now, hold on. Number one, let me get my shoe. I want my shoe. Think about that for a second, because those instincts that he had right then and there weren't scripted. And put yourself in that situation. You're standing there, and all of a sudden, ow! And next thing you know, they're piling on you, and so you imagine your adrenaline. And you're like, what happened? I just got shot. What's going on? We don't know, sir. We got to get you out of here, sir. Hold up. I got to get my shoe. So stop the movie right there. Every single one of you, stop the movie. You just got shot. There's 6 people on top of you. They're saying, I don't know what's going on. They're trying to kill you. And the first thing you say, hold up. Got to get my shoes. I'm sure the Secret Service is like, what? You got to do, no, screw your shoe. We got to get you. No, I want my shoe. That's one of my favorite pair of shoes right there. You know, when you go into a hotel, you check in and like you leave something or, oh man, we'll just buy another one. No, I got shot in the head and I want my shoe. Okay, let him get his shoe. Okay, oh, hold up. Fight, fight, fight. Like, sir, we got to get you out of here. Hold on. Fight, fight, fight. Done. I was done. Seal it. Take it to the bank. Trump's my guy. Have you ever been in a situation where it was a fight or flight type of moment, where split-second thinking is all you have, and you have to just, you know, like you've seen, what's the movie, Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr. when he got into the fight, and he's looking and goes, uppercut, left, under the jaw, and you start really slowing everything down and understanding the movements. Only few people can have that kind of steeled personality. Everybody else is running for the exits. Everybody else is like diving. And this man said, I got to get my shoe. All right, I'm up. Hold up. Fight, fight, fight. Done. I was done. Never turning my back on that. Never. That's the guy I'm going in a hole with. And so I don't care what people are saying right now. That same courage carried him through 2 impeachments, endless investigations, FBI raids, kicking his front door at Mar-a-Lago, lawfare, designed to bankrupt him, try to take his property, other assassination attempts being censored by big tech. And I'm supposed to be worried about what he's doing right now? You see, most politicians chase polling like dogs chase cars. Real leaders don't do that. Real leaders look in the mirror and said, it's on me. Now, I haven't bored you yet. Let me add the second part of this on. He's a business leader making billion-dollar decisions versus a politician. Let me check the polls. Trump's been seasoned. He's the leader. He makes decisions based on what's right, not what's safe. That's why when people say, well, hey, you know, the casinos went bankrupt, because he makes decisions on what's right, what could be profitable, not what's safe. You don't make $1 billion being safe. I won't break it to you right now. Safe money don't make money. You're going to have some whiffs, but you just keep getting back up to bat. So polls, public opinion, they mean squat. They mean very little when the intelligence briefings, the same ones he receives every day, tells you Iran is a dagger at our throat. Imagine that, because I want you to dial that back. Every president who gets a security briefing, hey, what's our biggest threat? Yeah, these guys want to shoot us. They want to take this out. What do we do? No, let's just leave them alone. What do you mean? If they're causing problems, that they want to start something, what? Stop, don't do that. Leave them alone over there. If you know, we talk about the house, and one of the things is if you see a roach or if you see a mouse, do you just leave it alone or you take care of it before it becomes a bigger problem? He did it because it had to be done, period. This is why I love the guy. That's why I will never turn around. The left is in full meltdown, protests, no kings, hysteria, call it illegal when they cheered worse from their own side. I don't care. He doesn't care. The media sits there and they clutch their pulls and they worry about escalation. I got the TV on right now and everyone's got a think tank. And I'm thinking, none of you know Trump. That's what it's all about. He's unfazed. He's already said the military phase is dominating, objectives are being exceeded, and the staying power is meaning we're not going to stay there forever. We want to strike, hit you, knock you out, come home. And like Victor Davis Hanson pointed out, this isn't Libya under Obama, 7 months of bombing with nothing to show for it. This is decisive, limited, and effective, even if it pisses people off right now. See, when I go into the next section of this today's show, I'm going to show you how things are actually improving. Yeah, sure, gas prices might be up right now in the short term, but can anybody see where they're going to be long term once this thing is over? Have you not been watching this show enough to know now how things get manipulated and then they stop? Were you watching the show even a week ago? Think about it to yourself. I don't want to keep going on too long, but think about it to yourself. A week ago, the world, no, not the world, but all of America on media was freaking out because of the lines in airports. 24/7. Oh, it's horrible. And we don't want ICE here. I challenge you to look on any network and find a story anywhere about what's going on in the airports. Are they still shut down? Yep. Then what happened? He took care of business. They were terrified of ICE. They went in there. He found a way to get some people paid, kept ICE in there. Boom, gone. Problem solved. Problem solved. Didn't care about any polling. Oh, the polls say the president's to blame. Yeah, I took care of it. Now what? Now what? Every single person on X that was complaining, including the people I know we're going to lose the midterms. What do you got to say now? No one's going to remember that they stood in a line a month ago when they're leaving and going out this summer. It's true. Ashley and the kids are like, they just walked through the airport. Oh, no big deal. 20 minutes. It's over. Now what's going to happen when you have stable energy, a safer world? America is getting respect. Some of it might be generated by fear, but nonetheless, it's respect. Many of you are old enough right now to remember, if you force yourself to remember, Reagan staring down the Soviets. You remember when Reagan said, tear down this wall. You remember what real leadership looks like, not pansy-ass Obama-type people kowtowing. This is it. Donald Trump isn't playing small ball. He's not a politician. He's the disruptor that we all needed in this country after all the crap we went through. And yet you still have people panicking. They're panicking because they're comparing it to what they're used to instead of realizing, oh, this is different, isn't it? Oh, yeah, we're never going back there. That's what I want to tell you next. We are never going back there. Be back in 90 seconds.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so I want to thank you guys for helping me muscle through this cold or whatever it is, the remnants of the cold. But I want to take a couple of comments. I love this one. We are being unburdened by what was then a Democrat failure. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. You ever see the movie? Which one was it? A Bronx Tale. Unfortunately, it had Robert De Niro in it, but the lead character, Sonny, who ends up being killed. And there's a question posed to him. It's like, would you rather be loved or feared? And, I think President Trump may have thought that to himself at one time. Would I rather be loved or feared? If I'm loved by the people around me. Fear doesn't have to be a negative. Fear means you're not going to come kicking in my front door if I'm sitting here, because you understand what's on the other side, what's waiting for you. And I think to a certain extent, that's how President Trump is operating. He's operating from a perspective of, number one, I'm keeping you off balance because he may not do anything in 48 hours, but now you don't know. Like, oh, I better not do something. Did I talk about Bondi yet? No, I'm going to probably talk about her. If I can do it tonight, I will. If not, that'll be tomorrow. See, Big Mike's still unhappy. That's a Machiavelli quote. I'm not sure. I just remember it from the movie Bronx Tale. One of my favorite movies. A fantastic movie, by the way. And it's funny. Another part of that movie is when a bunch of guys try to come in and invade the gangsters' territory, some motorcycles people, and finally they shut the door. And now you can't leave. Now you can't leave. All right, so SB sent me something I want to hit on, but before, let me finish where I was going, my train of thought here. We're never going back. Reminds me of a song from Fleetwood Mac, Never Going Back Again. Not going to do it, not going back. It's different. And this is what I said, and I'm completely banking on, even personally, is I don't think the Democrats have a chance in November. Not because of any polls, because I understand in my mind who this man is and how he's playing for keeps, not for an election, for keeps. And one of the things that when people say, the midterms are going to be a blowout, complete blowout, they're not, for some reason, they're not remembering everything we just talked about. They're not remembering Butler. They're not remembering the indictments. They're not remembering the impeachments. They're not remembering kicking in the door at Mar-a-Lago. They're not remembering putting all his friends and stuff in jail. They're not remembering giving some crazy woman $80 million who said he abused her in a furniture store or whatever. They're not remembering that Letitia James, and they tried to devalue his property and basically steal from him. They're not remembering that. You know why they're not remembering that? Because it didn't friggin' happen to them. See, every single one of us, I only know it because I say it over and over, and I probably even forgot some of the wrongs. He didn't. We watched the Melania movie. His son is still afraid. Dad, don't go there. Don't go outside. They still have to live their lives that way. They are reminded of it every single day by the Secret Service. They never forget it. And so walking around with that on my shoulders, understanding I need decoy airplanes and I got to do this and I can't go here and I can't eat this and I can't. You think he forgot that? You think he's going to let, they come out just yesterday with videos, we're going to impeach him, we're going to throw him in jail, and everybody who knows him, we're going to come after them, and then we're going to go after those maggots. And I think to myself, do you think that he doesn't know that? What kind of a moron would have to say that the midterms are a loss? Because in order for the midterms to be a loss, you have to believe he's not going to do anything about it. That's the only way the midterms could be a loss. The only way the midterms could be a loss is that if there's going to be nothing done about cheating, is there's nothing going to be done about any of the stuff that they've done. And because it's April in 2026, and they haven't gotten what they wanted, and it ain't the Epstein files, they're saying it's a loss. It's a lost cause. There's nothing's going to happen. I don't know about you, but I carry some grudges against some people who have done some things. Even though I try to forgive, I don't forget. And given the opportunity, I'm going to make sure these people get what's coming to them. And I'm not the president of the United States who's got everything he's got. Oh, you realize Iran has been one of the sponsors of assassinations against him. Has everybody in the media forgotten that part? Have you forgotten that? That this is personal with him. This isn't just presidential. You want to kill me. You sent teams over to assassinate me. How many of you remember? How many of you knew that? So understand, as you're seeing this play out in Iran, I'm about to obliterate you. It's because it's personal. They're on the ropes. Their entire strategy has backfired. And the only strategy they seem to have is our own media being against America. And hopefully there are some Americans who are starting to see through this noise. And hopefully I can bring enough clarity in that you guys don't even have to take my word for it. You can begin going and looking this stuff up and spreading the message. I just want my best to try and help everybody keep the faith, support the troops, and trust President Trump. He's got courage. You know it. He's got the vision. And yes, he's invoking divine favor. The kind of divine favor you haven't seen other presidents ever relate to you, which is more than I can say about the podcast bros, the Panicans, and the black pillars. That's why I trust President Trump and will continue to trust President Trump, because I know in his mind what he knows. And what you now need to know is he knows the alternative. What is going to happen if I don't succeed? And if I know that going in, that they're going to come after me, my family, everybody I know, and do whatever kind of harm they possibly can, bankrupt them, put them in jail, what would you do? Well, you'd want to settle all family business like a Corleone. Maybe not take them out physically, but you want to stomp them out metaphorically. And that's why I resist buying into the panic. Because I can see what he's been through. You can see it. And so when you have this panic, what are you comparing it to? Polls. And he ain't running with any polls. And so screw you. Got no time for you. If you feel that way, I don't care if I lose subscribers. I'm not changing my mind, and I'm not changing my stance. Because he's earned it. And that's the thing I don't get with a lot of people, especially you men who doubt President Trump, you men who've turned your back. If he hasn't earned it, if he hasn't earned your respect, then it's better off you do be a panicking. Because tell me, you got no backbone either. If you're not willing to stand for America, even as people out there are laughing at pilots being shot down, if you're not willing to stand with somebody who took a bullet in the head for you, and everything you saw over that period of time, which, at this point, you should be able to recite to yourself. If you're not willing to stand for that, good luck. Oh, by the way, what's your alternative? You see, because if the Democrats somehow were to take power in November, every single one of those podcast bros are done. That's how you know they're full of crap. They're done. They're not going to let them continue talking because now they know they flip-flop on, no, you're done. I'm going to dance with the man who brought me to the dance. That's it. Let's see here. SB wanted to tell me about this. Let me bring SB on. He can use some voice while I'm trying to recover here. There you are, man.
Hey.
All right, so take us through this.
That's Mario here. I got to bring that one up because I had a couple other things actually.
It's on the screen. It's on the screen. Look on your screen.
Oh, okay. Well, I have so many windows on here right now. Okay. The Doomsday plane landed at Andrews on April 3rd. Sounds routine, but the timing's doing all the talking. It's the
Hold on.
E4B.
Okay, I was going to say we need to explain to people what the Doomsday plane
Right.
is. Go ahead, go for it.
Okay. It's the E4B Night Watch, basically a flying command center, EMP proof, carries 100 plus staff, built to run the war if everything on the ground goes dark. Only 4 exist. One stays near the president. Moving it to Andrews equals closer to the White House. Now look at the same day. And F-15E gets shot down over Iran. 1 crew is still missing. And A-10 took fire and crashed in Kuwait. Iran rejected a ceasefire. Now this back channel with Pakistan dead. April 6th deadline still active. And the C-17 airlift, biggest surge so far heading toward the Gulf. Here's the part people are missing. 3 generals fired this week, 26 in 14 months. Army chief quietly replaced by someone tied to nuclear ops. Chain of command reshaped before things escalated, not after. Then the Doomsday plane just shows up. Sequence matters. You fix the command chain first, then position the system that runs it. Individually, all this looks routine. Together, not really. Everything's stacking into the same 72 hours. Weekend markets closed, deadlines still ticking, missing pilots still unaccounted for. And the plane built for the worst case scenario sitting right next to the guy who makes the call. No coincidences.
No coincidence. And it's funny because Mario has been one of those guys who's waffled. I don't know if you guys follow him at all.
Oh, yeah.
But
I've been seeing a lot of that from him.
Yeah. It's like he's trying to straddle, but even he's starting to see something's big is about to happen. And so we need to plan it. What else you got?
So I'm looking at peace through strength numbers here. Trump plans a $1.5 trillion military boost targeting the biggest U.S. naval expansion since World War II. $65.8 billion is set for 2027 shipbuilding. They're going to add 41 vessels with next-gen warships and new Trump-class battleships. So he's going to keep on showing more strength. And we need it because a lot of our stuff is starting to age, right? It's having some issues.
Did you notice the post right below Mario's? Actually, he had a follow-up post, which is, if you remember the beginning of the show, and he said he's going to strike the bridges and then he's going to strike the the infrastructure. Well, look at the very next post here. The very next post is by Benjamin Netanyahu, and it goes, after we destroyed 70% of their steel production, today we attacked their petrochemical plants. Boom.
FAFO. Yeah. Boom. So, things are happening. We never know what Trump's going to do, but something is definitely going to go down in the next 48 hours.
Yeah. So just got to be prepared.
Be prepared. Don't be scared. Be prepared.
All right, I'll be back at you in a second or a little while here. I'm going to go jump into the next section, but yep, thank you. There's a whole lot of stuff happening right now, and everybody has got to be ready for it because you don't know what's going to happen next. I want to before I jump into the next section here, I want to talk to you about who am I talking to you about here? I'm looking in my schedule, and I think it's Rumble. Yeah, let's talk about Rumble real quick. Rumble and the Rumble wallet. You already know that there are a lot of people who are moving into crypto. But here's the problem. Most wallets still plug into the same system we're trying to escape in the first place. That's why Rumble built Rumble Wallet. It's a self-custodial wallet that lives inside an ecosystem that actually defends free speech and financial freedom. No bank holding your balance. So you are in complete control of what's ever in that wallet. I don't know if you guys have dabbled and understand what these wallets are, but they're basically just apps that you can move money around or assets, and they're free from anybody, any peeking eyes or anything like that. And it's really, really good. So at this point, Rumble has built their own wallet. It's very good. It's a self-custodial wallet, lives inside that ecosystem I was talking about. It defends free speech and financial freedom. No banks holding your balance. That's big. Not even Rumble can touch your funds. Once you get into that kind of an exchange, you don't have to worry about other people controlling your assets. It's on your terms, on your keys. And I say key, you'd have to learn it, get into it, but you can transact completely different than handing over cash to somebody. I recently was involved in a transaction where somebody in Brussels was going to do some artwork for me, and he said, just pay me through, the wallet. Boom, you just get his key, you point it in, and money transfers. So if you're already using Bitcoin or any stable coins, Rumble Wallet gives you more power, direct, fast tipping, and support for creators right on Rumble without waiting weeks or dealing with random account holds, on-chain payments, and assets like Bitcoin, so you can move value globally without asking anyone for any permission. Most wallets stop at storage. Rumble Wallet connects your money to a marketplace of ideas that refuses to cave to censorship. So if you're serious about sovereignty, financial and digital, this is where you level up. Go to wallet.rumble.com or search Rumble Wallet in your App Store or Play Store. Download it and back up your recovery phrase and move your money. And it doesn't have to be a whole lot, whatever you feel comfortable with, and get used to using it. It'll be in your hands. Rumble Wallet is a technology provider only and not a custodial service. See terms at wallet.rumble.com. All right, so let's move into this next section of the show here, which I want to talk to you guys about. Big news yesterday.
Yes, this is the March jobs report, expecting 65,000. We are significantly stronger, 178,000. Finally, the U3, the unemployment rate, drum roll please, comes in at 4.3. I know we were discussing this morning, we're all expecting it to remain at 4.4, and we know that zero job growth takes into account, the immigration issues and population issues. So 4.3 is a little bit of a shocker. That's where we were in January to find a lower number. You're going back to June of last year when it was 4.1.
I mean, the expectation was, 60,000 jobs, and it's 178? Wow.
Yeah, look, the job market bounced back in a big way in March.
All right, so what nobody's talking about. Why did the job market bounce back? Well, in order for you to understand why the job market bounced back, in part, a big part, is to understand what the job market is. It's how many people are looking for jobs, how many jobs are available, and how they're being filled. If there are no jobs available, then the job market, in terms of people getting them, it's not going to look as good. But all of a sudden, can you imagine if there were, I don't know, a whole bunch of people who are no longer working all of a sudden? Like people who aren't supposed to be working. They're not from this country. And so now Americans can now get jobs. Oh, wow. It's amazing.
And that is good news, really blowing away expectations.
I can say that this is an absolute blockbuster number. It's one of the best numbers that you've seen in a long time. And what it shows is that all of the cumulative policies that President Trump has pushed, the no tax on tips, no tax on overtimes, making the old Trump tax cuts permanent, deregulation, $18 trillion in new investments in the U.S. through our trade deals.
All right, you got to stop there, Kevin. You're going too fast. The average person can't understand what you're saying. It's just too much. And no one's telling people this. Wow, so you got trillions of dollars coming in and tariffs that didn't go away, by the way. You notice the media just stopped talking about it. You remember? Oh, we're going to have to refund all this money, and it's good. They don't talk. They don't even mention the word tariffs anymore because it's working. Everything he said is actually happening. And now he said back in January, just wait a couple months. You'll see what about happen. And it's happening. And so they don't talk about it anymore.
That stuff, plus a big reduction in the trade deficit, has created an enormous amount of momentum for the U.S. economy. And so that momentum cannot be upended by a temporary Middle East skirmish.
Okay, I want to...
That's a big one. The momentum we are seeing in the market is not going to get upended by, as he called it, a temporary skirmish. He didn't say war. He didn't even say operation. Temporary skirmish. It's a speed bump. It's not going to make it go back. In fact, it's going to accelerate it. See, this is where you need to really be strapping on the seatbelt and holding on like you're in the Artemis thing, getting ready to get slingshot around the moon. Strap in. They're doing everything to suppress. I talk about it when I talk about silver and gold. They are all their tools, everything. They're trying everything to slow things down, because the more people start seeing good stuff, the Democrat message goes away. Watch them go running right back to Epstein. All over again, Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Especially once this skirmish stops.
So, yeah, you mentioned the word momentum, and that was exactly when we were talking about today's number last night with the president. Momentum was really the key theme of the briefing that Pierre, the CEA chair, and I discussed with the president. The fact is that there's so much momentum because of all the positive policies, the deregulation, the low tax rates, and you're seeing all the positive stories about no tax on tips and no tax on overtime.
Did you see that the governor of Wisconsin and other governors are trying to even stop that? He vetoed and said he's not going to allow no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. Why would you do that to your people? Well, because we got to stop Trump. This is crazy. People might start liking what's happening. Oh my gosh, people might get prosperous. We can't have that. That is our Achilles heel. If we can't bribe them with handouts, what the hell are we going to do?
The way was at a restaurant yesterday, and I asked all the waiters how much money they made on the no tax on tips, and the range was from $3,000 to $10,000, and they were all so happy. So that's like a positive momentum creating thing that I think if you have your eye on the horizon, as America's corporations do, absolutely explains why job markets are booming. And so I think that if you keep your eye on the horizon, if you understand the long-run growth, the golden age is coming because of our policies.
If you keep your eye, basically what he said, if you keep your eye on where the puck is going, his big smile, you're going to do well. Don't listen to the crap that everybody here is saying. Look, open your eyes. Try to forecast. It's going that way. You can't deny this stuff. You can only hope to bamboozle people. You know, I've been doing this show for a while. And in fact, I've seen my share of liberal meltdowns, as you are. But the panic right now, the doom, the gloom coming from the left, and even many on those so-called conservative Trump haters, they're freaking out. It seems like everything is causing them to freak out. Oh, the war, the Operation Epic Fury. Oh, the economy's doing well. Everything is freaking them out. And it's April. April, I tell you. It's glorious. It's absolutely, at the same time, positively absurd. They're refusing to see what's right in front of their faces. Or maybe they see it. Have you thought that maybe the reason why they're panicking is because they can actually see what's happening? When you see, what's that guy, James Carville, the Crypt Keeper, and him screaming, talking like this, and F Trump, Trump, you need to put, they're losing it. They can feel that they're sliding off the side of the glacier. The Trump economy is not recovering. It's roaring back stronger than ever, especially after that thing happens in Iran. And the numbers are proving it. That's why they don't want to talk about it. Even people on the right. Let's start with the latest jobs report, shall we? Because the media and the so-called experts are having a collective conniption fit. March job numbers just came in, and the U.S. economy added 178,000 new jobs. President Trump posted this and said, excuse me, I got a cough again. And he goes, very happy and blessed Good Friday. to all, especially to this 186,000 Americans who gained private sector jobs in the month of March alone. My economic policies have created an enormously powerful engine of economic growth, and nothing can slow it down. Factory construction jobs are soaring as a result of the rapid onshoring and surging investment that tariffs have generated. Go search ESPN, CNN, MSNBC, just put in tariffs and see how long ago they've talked about it. All the while, the trade deficit has shrunk by 52% in a year. And he shows he has a chart here. Jobs in March grow faster than expected under the Trump. And I will always say, when you see grow faster than expected under President Trump, who expected it? Who expected it to be lower? And then when you see a jobs report that nearly triples what the so-called experts on Wall Street and the newsrooms were expecting, triple. You see it on here, triple. That's not a miss. That is people who don't understand anything he's doing. They don't get it. They don't want to get it, and it's freaking them out. How the hell do you triple expectations? CNBC was stunned. As you heard, we are significantly stronger, 178,000, and unemployment dropped to 4.3. A little bit of a shocker. Why is it a shocker? Think about the words these people use. Why is it a shocker? Scott Bessent been telling you. Kevin Hassett, I believe his name, he's been telling you. Why is it shocking? Have you thought that? Have you thought to yourself, why are they saying better than experts predicted? Well, the expert is Scott Bessent. And only if you've been mainlining CNN and MSN Now for the last year and a half, convinced that Trump's tariffs and America First policies were going to send us into some sort of Great Depression 2.0, that's the only way you could be thinking this. Of course, President Trump is taking a victory lap, a well-deserved victory lap. And why not? Now all they can say is, well, the jobs report is fake. It's not really. There's nothing they can say. There's so much, as Kevin said, momentum. Momentum. Job markets are booming. You got to call 300%, 3x booming. There's no other way to look at it, right? Right. After the Iran situation, which, by the way, President Trump has been handling like the strong leader we just talked about, oil spiked. Sure. But here's what they're not talking about. The goods that are producing jobs are coming back. Blue-collar jobs, the kind that built this country, are returning. I want you to hear this from Nancy Lazar. Nancy Lazar is one of the sharpest economists out there. She points it out. What's encouraging in this report is we're getting goods and goods-producing jobs back. What excites me about going forward is that we're going to get more blue-collar jobs, which we have needed more, and they are coming back. You hear that, folks? Blue-collar jobs. Listen to her as she talks about it.
What's encouraging in this report, and it was echoed earlier this week with the ISM and in construction spending in general, we are getting goods-producing jobs back. So what excites me about going forward is that we're going to get more blue-collar jobs, which we have needed more because obviously we have a very, very diverse population and not everybody wants to go to college, can go to college, and so we need these trade jobs. And they are...
I'm going to have to stop you there, Nancy. That's one of the other reasons they're freaking out. They have been telling people since the time I was in high school, you got to go to college, you got to get a great job, you got to pay the school $50,000 a year, and then when you get out, you're going to make all this money, and then you're going to work for 40 years, and you're going to die. And then we're going to take, along the way, we're going to take your money, and then when you die, we'll take your money. And now all of a sudden, Mike Rowe has been telling you, they're shifting to where the people that they shunned. Oh, you're a welder? Oh, you work on air conditioning? Oh, you're a plumber. You're a roofer. I'm a BSA in, African-American ballet studies. I'm better than you. I went to Yale. And all of a sudden, it's all about the plumber and the electrician and the mechanic. The entire economy is shifting. You have an entire coffee shop full of people with degrees that can't do anything but pour coffee. And what's funny is they're pouring coffee for the same people they laughed at. Well, not that I see many plumbers go into Starbucks, but you know what I mean. These people who are actually working, who have real coffee breaks, who get coffee at 6:30 in the morning as they arrive on the job site. Those are the jobs. The people pouring the coffee, well, they just wasted their time. Now it's going to be different.
Coming back. You're seeing that obviously in manufacturing again this month. We saw it, as I mentioned, in the ISM. We're not only building data centers, we are also building new factories. And so that's going to be positive for construction jobs. So no question, up until more recently, the labor market's been lopsided toward the service sector, but that's where we've been. The question is, where are we going? And I think we are going to see more and more of these goods producing jobs, which by
see, right there, you got some more puck watching. Where are we going? You see, that's one of the things that you never hear from the mainstream media. The mainstream media, their job is to tell you where you are. I need you focused right here. Things are bad, gas is high, life sucks, but it's getting better. Oh, no, look here. And then as soon as stuff gets better, they're hoping something else happens. People are going to be making money, and the people making money are the people who actually make things. This is like he said, the golden era. You're no longer going to have to worry about, the person at Starbucks and everything else that they're going through these stupid schools. Look at these numbers.
By the way, are good paying jobs. And so I'm excited about, Stephen mentions the weakness in the labor force participation. I've been watching the prime age labor force participation. And so what you've seen is as you're starting to see more sectors of the job market increase employment, you're seeing the prime age labor force participation grind higher. I did not see what it did in the March report, but it's been in a rising trend. It is historically high. So no question we may have.
Notice she said, rising trend. See, one of the things I try to tell people who watch my shows is don't get caught in the here and now. Look at where things are going. I've said it so many times, proverbial skate where the puck is headed. Look at the trends, silver. Look at the trends, where things going. And the more you focus on where things are headed instead of where things are, the better off you're going to be. Here's a great example of that. If you are in a position right now where your finances, your marriage, your housing, whatever, if you focus right here, how are you going to fix it or improve on it? You see, I'm sick right now. And in front of me, I've got tissues and I've got nose spray and all these things because I know where I want to be on Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sitting here going, oh God, my throat sucks and I get nasally and no, I can't focus on that. There's nothing I can do about this minute at 2:43 or 3:43, 2:43. It is what it is right now. Where do I want to be? I want to be better on Monday. So get some chicken soup and be ready to do what you need to do. If your marriage is bad, you can't fix this. It's like, oh, okay, I want to be better with this woman or man. I need to begin doing things to get there. And so trend lines are something Democrats never talk about. They never want people to think into the future. Because the more I can get you worried and crying about where you are now, you're going to wallow in it and you're going to stay there. You are not going to move forward. That's why when you look at these things on CNBC and they talk about charts and moving things, it's because people who make money understand progression. They understand where things are and where do I need to be. You ever go to an interview or anything and somebody says, what's your 30, 60, 90-day plan? Nobody ever brings you into an office and go, huh, so what's the plan to get through today? No. I don't want to know what you're going to do from now until 5 p.m. I want to know how you're going to get us to here in May and June and July. And if you don't have that plan, you're not the person for the job. But the media's trick is to get you to focus right here. Watch the news. They'll tell you. They won't talk to you about where things are going. They've made a living. They've made entire networks on psychologically making you focus here. And everybody else who's prospering is looking at things in the future. And one of the things that I don't know, I think they're probably going to mention is that I would say one of the only areas where things are negative in the economy is what the media wants to focus on, because they're getting rid of government jobs. You know, the ones you and I pay for, which is a good thing. Instead of, helping people.
An issue with overall labor force, but prime age is encouragingly been on a rising trend because we are broadening out the labor market. So I would say focus a little bit more on goods producing jobs, construction and manufacturing. And also in this report, we saw an increase in temp employment. And that is such a reliable kind of good coincident indicator that companies initially, as they get more optimistic, hire people in the temp area. And so that also is.
All right. Let me back up. All right. Temp jobs. What is a temp job indicative of? Well, a temp job is indicative of, oh crap, things are so good, we need to bring on people quick. But we don't have time to really train them. So let's just bring in some mercenaries. People want to make some cash quick because we need all hands on deck. Perfect example of sudden necessary hiring is what happens around Christmas time. The retail need people to wrap gifts. The stores have more business. And so hey, we need more people. Well, right now it's the same thing. The goods producing market needs more people. And you don't have to go to college. You don't have to do this. And that's why also, what are the Democrats fighting now? It's so predictable. So instead of, in terms of fighting no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, now they're fighting the building of data centers. There's no accident to what's happening. They see these same numbers and go, wait a second, how can we screw this up? All right, we need to come up with some regulation to stop these buildings. They're being too prosperous. So let's stop the data centers. But that genie's out the bottle for most areas of the country. So let the blue areas, tax and regulate themselves into oblivion.
In a rising trend. So I would look at this report as the glass is half full.
Okay, well, no, and I'm glad that you said that. And by the way, I can answer your question, Nancy. 61.9 was labor force participation. So that number did come in. Again, it's a stronger number.
I had that on the wrong button. I've got to see if I can put that into something else, because I want to go back to that to show you that one last slide. That one last slide was quite important. I'll come back to that. Well, let me see if I can just bring it up. One second. Where was she? Okay, here it is.
Participation. So that number did.
All right. I want to leave this on full screen because I want you to look at this. And it says, where are the jobs? And this is based on the March jobs report. Leisure and hospitality was up 44,000, private education and health services 91, transportation and warehousing 21, construction 26. And there's only one negative mark on there. And that is the negative mark that the Democrats hate. That we're seeing a constant degradation of government jobs over and over and over. He's shedding government jobs. They hate that. What the focus has turned to and where everything is headed is real, honest work. And I'm not saying people in an office don't work. Myself, I haven't done physical work in probably ever. But I consider what I do real honest work. I still have to do it. I'm not just, being given some job in a DMV someplace. Real honest work. And Stephen Moore, who worked with President Trump, you've seen him. He's an economist who's been right more times than the left has been wrong. He's already looking ahead himself when oil comes back down. And President Trump has said he's going to get this done in the next few weeks. I want you to hear what he has to say here.
If we get that oil price back down to $60, we are going to see the biggest economic boom we ever saw in this country. It so much depends on bringing the oil price down, getting the straits open. Trump said he's going to get this done in the next few weeks. I'm here to tell you, if that happens, the U.S. economy is primed for a big boom.
All right, so everybody now is looking. He's been right. He and Scott Bessent have been completely right in their plan. Everything that they've been doing has shown where they're headed, where that puck is headed. And so now, finishing off this Iran thing, getting the Straits of Hormuz open, and you see $60, $70 oil, bam. These people are out there screaming that Trump's tough stance would crash the markets, send gas to $10 a gallon, and leave us all eating cat food under a bridge somewhere. Well, here we are. The jobs tripled expectations, tripled, not a little bit, 300%. Unemployment dropped. Momentum, remember that word. Momentum is building. And the left, they're still stuck in their Trump derangement syndrome fever, refusing to accept it. They can't accept it. And don't even get me started on some of these so-called conservatives who are completely full of crap. I think I've begun to realize that many of these so-called conservative podcaster bros are talkers. They may have moved in from media. I always want to say, what was your profession? What have you done? What exactly is it have you built? I'd love to know the history of some of these people. Because if they're not economically inclined, and if they don't understand how building and what's going on, I wonder if they even know what the hell they're talking about. And it doesn't mean they're bad people. And some of them may have never even liked Trump in the first place. And if they didn't like Trump, it's very hard for them to be speaking truth. And again, I'm not pointing fingers at people and saying this guy and that guy or that girl are wrong. I just want to know what your basis point is, where you come from, what world were you in? If you were already in the media, If you weren't doing something entrepreneurial, and what are you doing now? You see, that's the other thing. Anybody talking, and if you're making any money or doing, that's fine. What are you doing with it? Are you hiring people outside of your podcast to actually go out and hit hammers and nails or do stuff? Are you participating in the economy? Are you participating in what Trump's affording us? I would love to have those conversations with people. What do you exactly do? What do you do? These are people who will clutch their pearls and complain on a microphone instead of showing you, hey, this is something we need to do. It's crazy. But now they're on TV and they're on podcasts and they're muttering about revisions and wait and see. And we're going to lose the midterms. And every job poll report, they're going to have to revise it in a month or so. But when it's good, when there's actually good news under Trump, suddenly it's a conspiracy. It can't be possible. And it can't be possible because they don't understand the fundamentals. You know, I consider myself a little bit different in that regard because I try to tell you and give you some insight into those fundamentals. Because these hands have actually done nothing. I never hammered My dad owned a construction company. I didn't want to go down that route, but instead I wanted to do things in a more financial way. I wanted to buy property, and I wanted to rent property, and I wanted to renovate property, not from actually hammering, but I wanted to hire people to do it. And under President Trump, he's allowed that. Even the first term, when Biden was in there cooking the books with phantom jobs and massaging numbers to hide inflation, they called it the strongest recovery in history. You know what I made a lot of moolah? You're going to laugh at this. During the Clinton regime. While Clinton was in office, everybody hated what he was doing with the cigar and his crazy wife and everything else. But the one thing that he did know is to stay away from business. Let business cook. He didn't try to stop it like this newfangled Democrat Party. The same people who told you Bidenomics was working didn't know what Bidenomics was. Even as your grocery bills doubled and gas prices went through the roof, they can't bring themselves to admit that President Trump's policies are delivering and enabling you to have more prosperity. See, one of the things we've learned just since I've been doing this show, and you guys know it to be true, is the resistance to prosperity because it scared people. And I just keep telling you, man, live life, love it, embrace it. Go out and get as much as you want. If you don't want it, give it away. Understand what energy dominance is going to do for you. President Trump and his objectives was, hey, let's deliver energy dominance. Drill, baby, drill, huh? Check, did it. Bring jobs back from overseas. Have people here go ahead and build factories. Check. Standing strong on the world stage so our allies and our enemies know America means business. Check. These things are falling into place, and I sit back and wonder, how can people be upset? How can people really sit back and say that the midterms are lost as more people get 180,000 people just got a job? Think about that. That's 180,000 people who weren't working, who now have jobs, 3x, 300% times what was expected by who knows who. And those 186,000 people, do you think are going to turn around and go, Trump sucks? Well, what do you mean? I'm working. I'm making money. So who's going to say it sucks? Oh, Epstein. You think those 186,000 people give a crap about Epstein? I don't know. The Iran situation, what you're seeing right now, it didn't break us. It showed the world Trump isn't afraid to one, lead and act. Both those. Not afraid to think about it, not afraid to lead, and then he's not afraid to, to pull the proverbial trigger. And now, here it is, as he said. You can go back and look at my old videos. You can go look at what he said. The economy is responding. Now, your memory needs to begin kicking in here because he said this is what we're going to do. And if you wait a couple of months, here's what's going to happen. And now it's happening. You out there who, my age or older, you remember the 80s. Reagan came in, he cut taxes, he cut the regulations, he completely deregulated some stuff. He stood up to the Soviets and boom, it was morning in America all over again. You remember? I don't understand how people can forget. Factories humming, wages rising, confidence everywhere. This feels like that all over again, only with Trump's unique flair. He's delivering for the forgotten man and woman, the ones that the elites in D.C. and New York wrote off years ago. And the left hates it because it proves their whole worldview was always wrong. That's why when Liz Warren puts out stuff like, fair share, people are like, what fair share? Elon made that money. You didn't, idiot. They want you dependent on government. That's it. That is the slogan. That's the T-shirt. The Democrats can't exist unless you depend on them. And you know the people, you know who they are. Unfortunately, I do too. They just want this. I don't want to do anything. Anything. Trump wants you independent, prosperous, and proud. If you're independent, prosperous, and proud, you're an enemy to the Democrat Party. You have to remember that. Your enemy wants you independent, prosperous, and proud to be an American. And every single one of those attributes is kryptonite to people like the Democrats. Of course, right now, it's no secret, gas is still a little bit high because of what's going on in Iran. And groceries aren't as cheap as you want them. But they never will be because we're always going to want more. Stephen Moore is right. Once oil comes down, and it will, because Trump knows how to unleash American energy, watch what happens. The biggest boom ever. And watch what they try to do to stop it. Even CBS News, I'm going to have that in a story on Monday, is showing people now why California's gas is so high, what they're doing to cause all the problems in California. And who would have ever imagined that the blue-collar industry, those blue-collar jobs would explode the way they are and would be leading the Renaissance and golden era of America? I can. Because my dad was different back in the 60s when other Black people wanted to go in the street and do civil rights marches. My dad opened a business. My dad joined the military. I'm like, if I was impressionable like some of these idiots, I would have been like, "What, Dad? Yeah, you're going working for the man, Oh, no, he knew where he was going. And then he tried to raise me to be different. And I did. And I didn't do the blue collar way. Never forgot the lessons, though. With manufacturing coming up and actually, people building again, retirement accounts are going to go up, and the panic merchants, they'll be left sputtering, moving the goalposts yet again. It's going to happen. Mark it down. They are going to keep doing it. They'll keep saying stuff like, it's not enough. It's only because X, Y, and Z. This is why they panic. This is why the doom and gloom never stop. Because if Trump economy works, and it is working, and it will continue to even get better, then their entire narrative collapses. So if you know that right now, how in the hell are the midterms lost? Who in their right mind is going to turn around and go, you know what? Everything we've just been experiencing, let's just turn all that off. I want to give more of my money to the government. I don't want no taxes on tips. I don't want any taxes on overtime. I don't want to pay cheaper gas. I don't want to pay, cheaper for my groceries. I don't want to be able to buy a house. I don't want less interest rates. Who's going to say no to that? Nobody. You'd have to be a complete, utter moron to say no to that. That's why the left is panicking, and the people on the right who are saying we're losing the midterms because they're talking about stuff nobody cares about. I'm not worried about those current Epstein victims. I'm worried about the people that Tim Tebow is trying to find and get back. Those Epstein women, for whatever reason, you don't want to talk, that's up to you. Do I care about the guys who got away with it? Or yes, of course. But that doesn't improve my life one bit. There's nothing that's going to make my gas cheaper because some guy gets arrested. Nope. MAGA is not dangerous, but it can be. MAGA can be extremely dangerous. You hold the power to be extremely dangerous because you're the backbone of this country, and you're the ones right now they fear because you are going to win if you keep the faith, focus on your own independence and your own prosperity, and keep supporting the agenda and understand where things are heading. Tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors what the numbers really are. The left and the Trump haters can scream into the void. I don't care. The facts are in, the momentum is real, and the Trump economy, it's headed exactly where we knew it would go. He told you. He said, I wouldn't be so hardcore, hardline Trump supporter if I didn't see what he said would happen, and damn if it isn't happening. You're all seeing it. Maybe you don't want to look at it, but it's happening.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
That's the attitude. That's what we need to get back to. Don't focus on these idiots. They're going to keep talking what they're talking. They're going to lose a midterm. No, we need to keep winning. We need to win in Iran. We need to do this. We need to do that. We need to keep winning. Keep your smile up instead of the frown down. Help others when they start feeling defeated by the people in the media. You know, somebody responded to something I tweeted while I was on vacation, and it was a whole Pam Bondi thing. And when I had posted about Pam Bondi, which I'll talk about, if my voice feels okay, I'll go tonight. If not, I'll do it tomorrow. But the whole Pam Bondi thing, again, just like with Kristi Noem, I have a different take on it. And I posted about it, and somebody said, if I can remember exactly how they said, I don't remember the words, but they said, I heard that it was over the Eric Swalwell stuff. And I said, where'd you hear it? And her follow-up, or his follow-up, was, it was reported. By who? And then they can't answer the question. You know, one of the things that I have a problem with, and I told Robin, I said, you know that television, with most of the people on it, are feeding you poison. Yet, you will continue to eat that poison. And then wonder when somebody asks you, well, who reported it? Oh, yeah. You're letting it get in, garbage in. That's what happens. That's why I put so much trust in a certain core group of people. What did he say? Has he acted on it? Is he doing it? Is it happening? Not them. Oh, somebody said it was because of Eric Swalwell. So? Do you know how many people in the last couple of days have said stuff about these pilots that is completely untrue? Completely untrue. You just got to watch it. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I'm going to try and give you the most, up-to-date, truthful stuff I can. SV just hit me up and said that Trump just posted something else on Truth Social. So let me do this before I close. It says, if you import the third world, you become the third world. And that's not going to happen to the United States of America as long as I am president. And so, even with everything going on, now he's back to immigration. He's keeping these people on their toes. You got to keep on your toes. That's all that I have to say about it. Hold on, I took my earpiece out before I asked SV if he had anything else. Because I'm going to drink some tea and get some soup. Hey, man, you got anything else?
Yeah, who loves Stephen Miller? We all do, right?
What do you do?
About 45 minutes ago, it says, just in, Stephen Miller drops a truth nuke. I love this. We spent substantially less on Apollo 11, adjusted for inflation, than the cost of welfare recently stolen by Somali refugees in Minnesota. He's right. Let that sink in. It was cheaper to put men on the moon than the Somali pirates. I love that guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy in terms of he's been somewhat quiet lately. He's working behind the scenes doing something. So I wonder exactly what he's got going on. He's so good.
I also have one other thing. So if we talk about the birthright citizenship, I'm sure you've been watching that, all the stuff on X. Here's a number that should not surprise people, but it's kind of interesting. Breaking 320,000 children, nearly 9% of all the U.S. births were born to temporary migrant mothers. Let that sink in. Almost 10%.
Wait,
Anchor babies.
Hit me that again. 10% of the births in the country were
to temporary migrant mothers.
It's a business. It's an actual cottage industry at this point.
They're going for this. They want this, right?
Yeah. Because I'm going to look it up before I talk about it. But there's a law, or something, or whatever, that says if you're born here, you get to bring everybody else in as well. And like the mother, the father, the grandparents, even though they're not here, because you're born here, everybody else gets to come.
This relates to Trump's True Social that he just put out. I think it's all tied together, right?
Yeah. We got to stop it. All right. Thank you, sir.
See you tonight.
All right. Maybe.
Oh, okay.
I got
you're feeling good. Okay.
All right, everybody. Let me do super chats, and then we can get out of here. But before that, let me take a few comments. Let's see. We got dumb people don't know how to vote to keep our Republicans in the Senate and the Congress. You're right. What do we got? I hope he's figuring out how he's going to get 20 million people out. No birthright. Exactly. Oh, that's what it's called. Chain migration. That was the term. I got to look that up. That's crazy. I'll talk about Pam. I may do a shorter show and talk about Pam tonight. You know what? Hey, SV, give me hold on a second. I want to show you something. Wait 1 second. I put this out while I was on vacation. Hold on. Let me find myself here. I want to show you guys this. We were down in Fort Lauderdale at the resort. Hold on, I'm trying to find it. And I'm digging, going back. Oh, here it is. All right, hopefully I can download it real quick. It won't let me download. I got to upload it first. Yeah, talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right there. I'm going to set up the Pam Bondi show. Might be a shorter show, but if I can do it, we'll do it tonight. Here we go. I want you guys to hear this. Okay, 1 second. All right, so I want you guys to take a listen. So today we find out that President Trump has replaced Pam Bondi. What does that mean? Nobody knows. Nobody has the answer. Everybody's got conjecture. Everybody's wondering. They're saying stuff about Eric Swalwell. They're saying stuff about no arrest. But the person who replaced Pam Bondi did not say any of that. In fact, he said nothing but adoration. He said, I love you. She's done a great job. And he said she's transitioning into another role. The word fire never came up. And this is from a guy who made his living based upon saying the fact of you're fired. And he didn't say you're fired. So everybody running around with their hair on fire saying that she's been fired, I'm ignoring them, including people in our own fanfare family. Don't have time for negativity. I voted for him. I did not vote for Pam Bondi. None of you voted for Pam Bondi. So as while he's making the decisions, that's the guy I am still behind. And if he made the decision to replace her, that's up to him. There's a lot more going on that nobody knows of. I mean, you can conjecturize and think about some things. You can probably think to yourself, you got to wonder if he's getting ready to do something that nobody knows what's coming. Was she in this position just to get ready for where she's going right now? I guess we could ask ourselves 100 different questions, but the only person who knows, not thinks, not wonders, is upset because they think she didn't do the job. The only person who knows is President Donald J. Trump. And that's who I trust. Anybody else with all kind of, rumors that are going around, I don't have time for that. I'm down here in Fort Lauderdale having a great time with the family. Down here at spring break, life is good. I'm not worried about all the other stuff. I support President Trump. So you support President Trump, you got to support his decision. Otherwise, you're no better than Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey and the rest of the Democrats and the rhinos. I support President Trump. I guess what you have to do at this point is look yourself in the mirror and say, do I trust this man is making the right decisions? If you believe so, if you believe President Trump is making the right decisions, then block out all the noise. You don't have time for it. November's not that far away. We're talking about 8 months at this point. The man obviously has a plan. If you don't think he has a plan, well then, you can find another candidate or figure out what you're going to do for the next 3 years. I'm with President Trump, not going anywhere. If you're not going anywhere, you can continue to watch because that's where I'm going to be. I got on this horse. I'm going to ride this horse till the wheels fall off. You want to join me? Great. I'll see you on Friday. If not, sayonara. I didn't mean to be so mean. Somebody called me, Barry, why are you acting angry? I'm not angry. Sometimes it gets hard to continue to just tell people to stay positive. Understand, because there's so many people out there, so many people who are just talking negative, so many people who are looking for the opportunity to take a shot at President Trump. So many people to take a shot at people surrounding President Trump. Then they started talking about Tulsi. And then they started talking about, I even saw somebody today, Pete Hegseth is on his way out. And I'm like, good gosh. I don't care. I don't care if Tulsi is moved out. I don't care if Pete Hegseth is moved out. I don't care if Stephen Miller is moved out. I didn't vote for any of them, and none of you did either. I am trusting that the guy I voted for is making the right decisions. And somebody else had said, well, Barry, we can have an opinion. Yeah, absolutely you can. But that opinion, if it conflicts with what he's doing, then you're no longer supporting President Trump. If you think that this was wrong or that was wrong, then you're not truly supporting the man you voted for. And then you have to ask yourself, what are you going to do in November 2028? Stay home? I love that. I love when people say, I'm just not going to vote in November. Then you're sealing your doom. If you want the Democrats to take control, I want you, again, as I talk about trend lines and where things are going, just think what your life's going to be like. That's all. That's an easy picture for me. That's like going through the three ghosts. What are you? The ghost of Christmas present, the ghost of Christmas past, and the ghost of Christmas future. The ghost of Christmas past tells me I don't want that same ghost to be my future. I'll do anything so that ghost of the past doesn't come back to be the ghost of the future. Even if my ghost of the present isn't doing exactly how I like, I already know what the past was. How many of you right now, truly, no matter how bad Trump is doing in your mind, if some of these people did some stuff badly or whatever, how many of you want to go back to the Biden-Kamala age? That's the only question people should be asking themselves when they go into October or November is, do I want to go back? Nope. Nope, never going to happen. All right, let me do super chats and go drink some tea and honey and some Robitussin. Not a sponsor. Maybe I should call him, hey, man, I need a sponsor for Robitussin. Tilly, thank you very much. Hold on, let me move this thing up or down. Okay, Fazul, spirits and principalities, 47 recognizes where the evil one dwells here and abroad. Exactly. Tilly, I got to go to and make desserts for tomorrow. Happy Easter, everybody. What's the land? This is what it looks like to obliterate the deep state, swamp, trust God, and trust the plan. Exactly. It is obliteration. Fazul, 44 funded terror worldwide. 46 let them in. Yep. And he's got, and 47's got to clean them up. Oh, thank you, Christina. Today is my 1-year anniversary for tuning into Fanfare, and later that evening, accepting Christ. Wow. I finished the Bible yesterday and started Enoch. Next to pseudographs and deuteronical text. Wow. You're going deep. Congratulations. I got to give you that. Wow. That's absolutely awesome. James Hammond, American nukes dropping on Japan saved 1 million American lives, also prevented a major mutiny of American forces. Got to know your history. Brian, no real close friends at home. My closest friends were my shipmates. July 1988, we had everything back and still do. There you go. Marcus, keep fighting, Fanfare family. Exactly. Brian Newland, my fight or fight moment, July 3rd, 1988. Well, Chiosop, look at me. I'm the one who did this. The movie line. Dan, President Trump has my respect and trust. I support him 100%. Gamiak, thank you. Hello, Neo. Great to see you back, Barry. Thank you for always opening eyes. Never lost faith in President Trump. Trust in the plan and strategy to make MAGA. Give him hell, Mr. President. It's long overdue. Exactly. Demon of Cybertron. Only time a plumber would go to Starbucks is for a clogged toilet, and a plumber will make more money on that one job than the barista's doing in 2 months. You're so right. Robert, why are we so hated? Because we go so far against what they want. Communism, socialism, and we don't want that. And it's a religion to them. That's why. Where did I go here? Leger. Yeah, Lele. Thanks, Barry, Hat, Robin, Ashley, for all you do for the community. Thank you. MAGA for the win. Thank you. Nikki, the at import the third world was quotes by Trump. I believe that was Tucker Carlson who said that. I'll have to look that up. Jared, Barry, be encouraged. Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray for the Lord for it because if it prospers, you too will prosper. City equals land you live in, also known as your country. Very well said. Very well said. Mariah, good to see you back, Barry. Up, we are roaring back into boom times and much needed blue collar geniuses. Who would have thought? Who would have ever thought? People thumb their nose up at blue collar for so long. Jared, oops, that scripture was Jeremiah 29:7. See, I was going to ask you about that. I'm going to have to write that down. Jeremiah 29:7. Thank you. MAGA, for the win, please make yearly memberships available to support you. Thank you so much. Oh, I don't really do that, but yeah, we'll see. And Jared said again, Jeremiah 29:7. All right, so let me just check something. Did I go through? I think I covered everything. Let me just make sure. Yes, I did. All right, so I will see you guys maybe tonight. Not sure, to see how the tea and soup work, and if it does, then I will. If not, I will see you for sure tomorrow, but we'll see.
Bye.